Rumspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Steel Magnolias?
Oh my god, yes, I love that movie.
Jonesy, you've seen it, right?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
You've seen Dracula, right?
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
Lena, you've seen it.
What do you think? Filmspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh my god, Weekend at Bernie's saved my life.
Jonesy, you have to have seen it.
Oh my god, no, I haven't. Of course not. You've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the best.
That movie scared the out of me when I was a
You know,
kid.
did it scare the out of you? I have not seen that one, and I will be praying for all of your souls.
It's your Filmspringa, Lena.
Hasn't seen it.
It's showtime!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Filmspringa, the podcast about all of your favorite films and your sheltered friend who's never seen them. I am Tony, and I'm here with Brynne, and our lovely, lovely sheltered friend, Jonsey.
Guys, I'm Lena.
a.k.a. Jonsey, all the way from Japan. We are back.
Oh, yeah, you're in Japan now.
Yeah, she's in Japan.
This is an international
It
podcast.
is an international podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this week we are going to be talking about one of my favorite films for one of my favorite performers, singers, actresses of all time that I talk religiously about all the time. It is the 1988 comedy Big Business, starring Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin. It is so good. I love it.
Got some business, and it's big.
Big Business, and it's big. Yeah, I love this film. It is so just cheese, pure cheese on a Ritz
It is
cracker.
cheese, and they know it with the eyes and the outfits.
All of
And
it.
it's like two comedic goddesses in their prime.
No, just having fun. That's what it is. They're just having fun.
They must have had so much fun.
Yeah.
I do definitely agree with that. It looked like a ton of fun to play, and just I know playing multiple roles is fun
Mhm.
too, so I'm sure they had a blast
blast.
doing that.
Yeah.
So for everyone who does not know, Big Business is the Bette Midler, Lily Tomlin vehicle of two sets of twins. And this is hard to say and harder to follow in film. So they are not fully switched at birth. One of each set of identical twins is switched at birth in a rural town in Virginia.
It's Virginia. Yeah. Sleepy Hollow.
And yes, no, I thought it
No,
was
not Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy
What am I talking
Hollow.
about? I got it all confused.
Jupiter's Meadow.
Where
Jupiter's
it's something
Springs.
like Jupiter Hollow. See, I knew there was a hollow in
Hollow.
there.
There's
Jupiter
Hollow in there.
Hollow.
Jupiter's
Sleepy Hollow. People know Jupiter Hollow.
Yeah.
I'd see that movie
Yeah,
though.
you would.
And so one is born to like a very rich cosmopolitan family. The other to like a local sort of, I don't want to say hickey,
Yeah.
but they use that term in the film, sort of down home country. And we go in the future and we fast forward and we see how these twins have developed. And I guess that capitalism is in your DNA. Is what we're taught from this movie.
Apparently, yeah.
And let's watch. You know what will explain it
You
better?
get the trailer.
than the difference from Jupiter Hollow is the trailer for this
There
film.
you
Thank
go.
you, producer Rob.
Will the trailer explain it?
It will not. And then maybe I'll follow up.
There you go. All
Yeah.
right, let's do it.
My wife is having a baby. Where's the nearest hospital? Not long ago, in a small southern town, a woman from Jupiter Hollow and a woman from New York City were about to give birth.
I hate needles.
It'll just be a little prick.
Yeah, that's what got me into this mess.
And in all the confusion, it's a girl. It's a girl. It's another girl. It's another girl. The nurse got the two sets of twin sisters all mixed up. Now the two mismatched pairs are all grown up.
I look like a walleye salmon.
One set living in the country,
I gotta get me some of those press on nails.
the other living in the city.
Is this how we dress for the office? You look like a blood clot.
Neither suspecting the other exists until one day, Big Business stepped in and changed all that.
Were we to liquidate Holloway, the return on our investment would in fact be quadrupled. Are we gonna let them swoop down on us like a bunch of turkey buzzards in business suits? We're going to New York City! We're going to New York City!
And now, in a city of 8 million strangers at the Plaza Hotel, these two sets of mismatched twins are about to receive the shock of their lives. And a whole new lesson in sisterly love.
Would I strip mine our birthplace? You're the only one's gonna get stripped mine if you walk through that door.
Shameless. This is outrageous. This is Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin.
God, it's me with a bad haircut. I paid $12 for this.
This is Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler.
I may be pre-periodic and I may be hysterical, so what? So there are drugs for those things and I make most of them.
Together at last. What the hell's going on here? Turning New York City upside down
You can't outsnake me.
and inside out in a comedy about one big surprise after another. Suppose it's hormonal. It's big business. There's two of everybody in there.
Yeah, that's big business.
That's a lot better of a preview than I saw on Disney Plus. Disney Plus literally just like took segments of the
Film and
film,
threw it
no
together, yeah.
narration.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this movie is the one of the twins are switched at birth, one each, and then it is a comedy of errors of them coming together and finding their true place. And this movie is predicated on two basic things. The sisters somehow both having the same names, though they were switched at birth, and every single ancillary character in this movie being a fucking idiot.
Yeah, they're morons, which make it hilarious because you're like,
single person in this
wow,
movie
these
is-
people are dumb. But
A fucking idiot.
I think that was just a theme through most movies from the
Oh,
80s
yeah.
and
Late
90s.
80s.
Now, like, you know,
You can't tell if someone's dead. You can't tell if
No.
they're switched
Yeah.
twin.
I mean,
real
you
stuff.
have no idea what twins are, much less triplets at the very end scene in the credits.
Oh, I know. End
I
credits.
thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
So first of all, what does pre-periodic mean? They said that a lot, and I'm guessing it's menopausal.
Yeah.
Is that what they
I think
called
so,
menopause
yeah.
in the 80s? Pre-periodic. And then also I thought about the dynamics of twins.
Which
Which is like,
I'm
what
an
would
identical
you-
twin in real life. So
But so okay. Oh, this is so great. Actually, I did not think about this. Okay, wait. Can we have a twin segment, but after the segments we need to
yeah.
get through?
Sure.
I have questions to ask Tony specifically
Okay.
before we get to Lena's segment.
Yeah.
Which is, what would someone do if they saw you but with a Southern accent?
They'd be like, "Why do you got a Southern accent?" Or they'd be like, "Is that a bit for the show?" That's what they would say.
When people walked up to you and they thought you were Manny,
Yeah.
did you just? But I guess you knew you had a twin.
Of course I have a twin. I know I have an identical twin. It actually happened this morning while I went on my run through Balboa Park. I am running, and some guy I'm running by looks at me and goes, "Hey, how's it going?" And I automatically knew because me and my brother know this. There is when somebody doesn't know you, go, "Hey, how are you going?" And then there's the face where they know you, but you don't know them. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey," and he's like, "So, what have you been up to?" And I'm like, you know my brother," and he's looked very confused. And I said, "You know my brother Manny?" And he's like, looks at me like, "Aren't you Manny?" And I'm like, "No, I'm the other one, Tony." And then it takes him always a few seconds to register. And he's like, "You guys look a lot alike." I'm like, "Yeah, we're twins. You work at the Globe, I'm assuming, because that's where my brother used to work." And then it's the pure embarrassment on their face where they are looking at any reason to get out of this situation and get
Why should they be embarrassed? Not a lot of people have an identical version of
know.
themselves.
So I'm like,
walking
all
around.
right, have a good day. Don't worry, it happens all the time. So.
I think they should be embarrassed because I've never not been able
Oh, I
to
know.
tell
Well,
them.
you've known me forever, so
You know, though. So that's the thing is for Tony, he's lived his life like knowing he's a twin. But if you didn't know you had a twin, that would be shocking.
Well, see,
and that's what
they've
this movie
known
is.
they're a twin, but fraternal, not
Fraternal.
identical. So that's, yeah. I love this movie. One, because this
I
was
love this movie.
in 1988, and this was when Bette Miller, who I adore above anybody else, was doing all the Disney films like Beaches. It was Touchstone and Disney, and it was Outrageous Fortune, Big Business, Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and Beaches
Yep.
all came out like around the same time, because this was in 1988, which was a great year for Bette Midler because she had done Beaches the same year, and she voiced
yeah.
one of the dogs, the poodle, in Oliver and Company the same year. Yeah,
yeah.
and then she
I
did
love
big,
that
yeah,
one.
then she did Big Business. But I think why I have always been drawn to this film is one, because of twins and Bette Midler, but it's just something I would put on to laugh and not think and know that it is unrealistic, everything in the film, and simply enjoy it for the stupidity and humor
Yep.
it is. And that's why I think I've always like really enjoyed this film. But Brynne, when was the
Yes.
first time you watched this? Do you remember watching
I
this as a
watched this-
kid?
Yes, I watched this film really early because it was sort of I don't know why. Like I watched a lot of twin movies, but you know the original Parent Trap with Haley Mills. And then it was like we would always watch this and then Big Business. And I remember at the time thinking like, God, what if because I hate my siblings?
Yeah.
Not now, when I was younger. I'm one of 5.
Uh-huh.
And so I remember thinking like, what if there was a sibling out there that was like me, who was awesome and not like these dinguses I've got here. And so we watched Big Business. I just like Bette Midler, like the boobs and the eyes, and it was
Her
like
theater eyes. That's what I always call them,
the
theater
green,
eyes.
theater
'Cause
eyes,
it's
and
always
then the
over the
green
top for the back
screen.
row, even though it's camera. Yeah, exactly.
The first scene where she pops in and they open the elevator, and you guys,
Oh, in her
if you're
hat.
listening to the podcast and you don't see it, she does this whip up
Oh,
where
so
it's
good.
small, squinty eyes, big
Guys.
eyes, walk,
Yeah.
and like no one can see her. It's just for the camera, but it's like so amazing, and it's so peak Bette
Joyful.
Midler, and like you know, I had seen Hocus Pocus probably before I watched this
Oh,
movie.
really?
And so yeah, and Lily Tomlin, like as a stand-up, like even back then, like
So good.
was comic genius, and I've always loved her and just like her comedy. And I remember, so they do try and sort of shoehorn in a romance,
Yeah.
like a romance
really
element to
sketchy
it.
romance.
awkward.
It's so weird, and we'll talk about that
Yeah.
later. But I loved that the element, like the main elements of this movie were, two sets. So really 4 powerful women finding their own way and being women. So I remember feeling really drawn to it in like that sense, and the polka dot pantsuit.
Oh, the polka dot
course.
pantsuit. Yeah. Or not the pantsuit,
Yep.
the polka dot skirt in the jacket. Yeah.
Skirt suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that
And
outfit.
so-
I like that one. And when she's at the restaurant with the Brazilian or the Italian guy, and she sees her
Yeah.
2 assistants, and she walks over and she's like, "Tonight." And then when she walks away, she pops her collar on her
She pops her
dress.
collar?
I love that part.
Well,
It's so stupid.
And I have to tell you guys that so it evokes so many beautiful, loving like memories
Yeah.
to me of just being like women can be funny and like make faces and do prop comedy, and Lily Tomlin with her
the bracelet and that's
her bracelet where she shakes it. That will like always be ingrained in my memory. But I rewatched it for the first time in a long time, and I realized her assistants were a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never
Really?
hit me.
I
He was
picked
like, "Where'd
up
you get
on that when
water?"
I
He
was
goes,
a kid.
He goes, Fire Island. And then he's like, we're going to sleep in the same bed together. And I was like, oh my God. And I was
So
like,
I was
"Yes."
actually trying to figure out, like I saw this movie's PG and I was like, why did I not see this movie?
That's
And
why.
as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh,
That's why.
no homo. That's right.
We'll
When
get
it
to
was a
that.
joke.
Tony, when was the first time you saw
I
this
saw
movie?
this. God, I was young. I was probably, I had to be around 12 probably. And it was on you can watch it because it's Disney and Bette Midler and all that good stuff. And I fell in love with it the first time I watched it. I thought it was hilarious. One, because of the whole twin thing. 2, because of Bette Midler. And I just remember thinking it was hilarious. The one-liners, Bette Midler is like hamming to the camera. And it was just so over the top, in New York City at the plaza and all that good stuff. I enjoyed it, and
Plaza.
I've watched it so many times over the years. So it's still enjoyable. Like even when we were prepping for this show this week, I was like, I just watched this like 2 weeks ago.
I was stoked the whole week because like normally I'm like, what are we
Yeah.
watching? And like I told the guy that I'm dating, I'm like, we're gonna watch this, and I'm like, we're gonna watch this, and I was like, we're gonna make pasta, and I was like, we're gonna make
Such a fun
penne, and we're
movie.
gonna sit, and we're gonna watch it. I was like, so
Yeah.
it's like a weekend at Bernie's for me when I hear the music.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh.
And then when
like, I
they
just got,
open,
like,
and then
endorphins.
country Sadie, who is Bette Midler's character is Sadie, sings a song while milking the cow and yodeling. I mean, it's so ridiculous that it's hilarious to me.
When that's like the bass beat,
Yeah.
is her and she's milking the cow. I was like, oh, they went for it.
And
with
said,
this
you know
movie.
what,
They
this is
went
dumb, but
for
we're
it.
gonna do it anyways. Fuck it.
Whatever you want to do.
Oh my god!
let's
And I love
do
that
it.
when I was researching the film, that you know how Lily Tomlin's character, especially her character Rose, the New York Rose, is very ditzy and all that. So every time she did a take, she would turn in circles, like turn herself in circles, so she would be a little off balance for the character.
it.
And I was like, that's an act.
That makes
That makes
sense
sense.
because I did notice how off balance she was
Yeah.
at times, and her reactions were like
Yeah.
she's drunk.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Yeah.
but that's not her character. So what is
Yeah.
Oh, she's dizzy. Okay.
Yeah. And
Unnecessary method acting.
And the movie
Yeah.
is like based off of Shakespeare's, or loosely based off of Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors, and
Comedy of Errors.
The Prince and the Pauper. Is that right? Prince and Pauper, and then
Yeah, The Prince and the Pauper, yep.
the Town Mouse and Country Mouse. So it's kind of all of those old stories kind of combined into this one movie in a way.
It literally is a comedy of errors.
Oh, it is. Definitely.
People popping up, not knowing each other, not seeing each other, crossing each other in elevators.
Yeah.
A dude accidentally trying to rape a woman.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other movie. I was trying to remember within the Disney catalog for Bette Midler and Touchstone. It was Ruthless People was the other one that was in there.
Oh,
too.
Ruthless
Yeah.
People, so good.
Which was really, really good. And it was funny because
Nina's like, I have no idea.
I
what
know
movie
it's
is.
funny because Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler are supposed to be twin sisters, but Lily Tomlin at the time of filming was 6 years older than Bette Midler.
Yeah, I was like, she.
yeah.
Also, has Lily Tomlin ever not been old? Like she's kind of like Patrick Stewart, where they aged real quick at
Yeah.
the beginning and it's maintained.
Plateaued.
And then
You
when,
know,
yeah.
like-
And then I love that during the film, you know, when they come out of the bathroom after they discover their the identical twins, Bette Midler delivers the line to herself. Isn't she divine? She improved it because of her stage persona, the Divine Miss M. So she threw
Right,
it
yeah.
in. I thought that was so cool.
I love it.
I was like, yes, Bette Midler.
I also just love the whole concept that like your socioeconomic status is like
in you.
baked
Yeah.
into you when you're born. They really did not go for like they're like nature versus nurture. They're like, no, it's
Nature.
nature. If your parents had money, it is in your DNA.
Because she's like, I'm making love in the back of a recreational vehicle.
I have a recreational vehicle. And then Lily Tomlin's like, I just want a house in the country. And it's like somehow your parents had to have.
I know.
You had to have
And I
been
love
at
when
birth to
Sadie
want
tells
that.
the Italian guy, speak American now. You're in America.
I was like, that's so topical.
Yep. I was like, oh, we've been doing that long.
Yep.
Huh?
I
love
really
that.
enjoy the film, even though the story is so unrealistic in every way. Even the romances, you can tell they were all just put in there. But it is literally
They're so short and so weird
Yeah.
that at the end of the film, I'm like sussing it out with the guy that I'm
Yeah.
dating, and
You got to give him a
we
name.
were like,
we got to
what?
give him a name for
Chris. His name is
Okay,
Chris.
he's Chris.
I want this show to be evergreen with my boyfriends, so I don't want people to be like, oh, this was the beginning because she was dating Chris.
Yeah.
Not that we're gonna, I'm being realistic.
You never know.
So, we're starting out, and we're like, the only person that has a healthy relationship at the end of this is the bad guy, is the bad Bette Midler.
Yeah, because she goes off on
They're
her
all
yacht
swapping
with the Italian guy.
with a dude that has not already boned her
Yeah.
sister. Both of the Lily Tomlins go with dudes that have already boned and were ready to propose to
And
the
they're
other
just like,
woman.
well, yep, I'm good. Bye. Nice knowing
And then-
you. Peace out.
And then
Well, and
Southern Bette
country
Midler is
lady-
like, I'm gonna go on a date with my nephew's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nephew is played by
Yeah,
a very
even-
young Seth Green.
Seth Green.
Which is
I had a
great,
huge crush on
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, the replacement. I just feel like that would be if Tony or Manny dated one of their exes. That's weird.
I know.
It is 100% just the way you look.
Yeah.
Like with the Lily Tomlins, especially, like this guy is like, I love you, I'm going to propose to you. And he's like, oh, you just look like her and we kissed once, you're fine. And then the other Lily Tomlin, who only saw this dude drop a hot dog out of his mouth.
No,
No.
she didn't even see
No,
that.
she didn't see it. It was
Country
for
Bette
Bette
Midler
He was like, let's
singing
go out.
steel drum
Oh,
band.
and I love that. I love that improv. Let's have a music number in the middle of this movie for no reason
That was
at
such
all.
a note from the studio of like too many women on their own make them end up with men.
I know. It's
So
total
like, how do we
80s,
make
yeah.
this make sense?
Yep.
It was also just not necessary at the end, like for them all four to go off. Like it wasn't needed. Like you could have had the moment in the lobby
Yeah.
with the four and then the suitors and just had it be like this haphazard discovery, but it didn't have to now be, oh, and now we paired off.
And
You know,
bye.
You know what
Yeah.
would be great is that we've spent what 40 years not understanding that we had biological identical twins. Why don't we go have lunch
I
together?
know. That's
Why
what
do we
never-
all go in separate directions with dudes?
Yeah.
That's the
it.
thing I
Like,
didn't
you know, the whole when they find each other in the bathroom and they do all of that whole scene, I'm like, why that I would have been like, fuck the meeting. I'm gonna just have an identical
What's happening?
twin.
Call the meeting
And
off.
what I found interesting was what the director and the producers of the show our movie was really gonna do for that whole scene in the bathroom was have body doubles with prosthetics on. But when they did it for filming, it looked awful.
sure.
So they said no, and it ended up being like green screen, which was kind of still new at the time, so you can totally tell. But
Oh, you
yeah.
can totally tell. But I do love the Bette Midler's the shimmy with the boobs,
And
and then the sort of like weird
Yeah.
dance. And they were like, "Here's a dance that we're
Love
gonna
that.
do." And everyone's gonna
Oh,
love.
I love it so much. And I just like how Bette Midler, her eyes on everything is just so like, so big, and I love it.
And this is such
Also-
an era in the late 80s that is like A Fish Called Wanda,
Yeah.
that is so stage play that it's all set for like the stage. It's
Like a
like
farce.
noises off.
Yeah.
It's a
People
farce,
going
comedy
in,
of errors.
like coming and going, barely
hanging
missing
out.
each other, all of that. What were you gonna say,
Yeah.
Lena?
I was gonna say, as far as the ending goes, New York Bette Midler sure got over being shoved in a closet and losing the deal she was hoping for.
I
real
know,
quick.
real quick. I guess that's
She's
what
so good.
happens when you meet an Italian. It just like all goes out the window.
Oof, hated that
Oh
ending.
man, the ending was all rushed. You know, they're like, let's just wrap this up, get it done. We already got the
They're like
good.
too much estrogen.
good
That's why we had
comedy
to talk
bits out.
about them being menopausal so
Yeah.
much. I was like, why are we talking about this?
Yeah. Okay. I have a question for you, Brynne. You know the mom at the beginning. Who is that actress? I've seen her in so many things, and I couldn't place where I know her from.
She plays like a pinched bitch
In everything.
so many things
Oh.
that I almost looked it up last night. I can't remember,
Let me see
but
if I can find it
um,
because I know I was gonna write it down, but I totally.
But
messed
I was talking to Chris, my boyfriend, and he's like, no one's like that when they're giving birth because she was such a bitch. And I was like, no, my grandma tells stories. She's like, I hated giving birth. I had them give me ether,
Yeah.
knocked me out. Then I had a baby. Never bred my and then when I was having problems breastfeeding, it was like very emotional for me. And my grandma was like, fuck that. She's like, I had ether and then I had formula. Well, they're not taking anything else from me. Don't feel guilty 1 minute.
Mhm.
And I was like, that yes, this is my grandma.
Well, the
I
actress's
love
name.
that he bribed her.
Yeah,
With a
he
tiara.
bribed her. Yeah.
Oh, he bribed her with a
Vacation.
vacation home.
Yeah.
Wait, home. And then for her for naming the girls, she got a tiara.
Yeah. What
And I
about?
was like, this is my grandma.
So her
Not
name.
what a bitch. I was like, woman
Yeah.
goes.
So the actress's name is Deborah Rush, and she actually was
Rush.
she was nominated for a Best Tony Award for the original cast of Noises Off. Isn't that
This
crazy?
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and she's done tons of films and TV shows and all that. So she
She's in
was
a
in.
lot
I
of
remember now. She was in Strangers with Candy. That's where I remember. She was the mom in Strangers with
She's
Candy.
the mom in Strangers,
Yeah.
which is a mom that doesn't like being a mom.
Yeah,
like a frigid
exactly.
bitch.
Method actor much, maybe?
I know.
Deborah Rush, let us know.
But-
Did you hate being a mom?
When the movie came out, it came out to lukewarm reviews. Like they loved Lily Tomlin. Why can't I say it? What's going on? Tomlin and
You can't say any
I know
names.
Bette Midler. They love that their comedy, they're dynamic, but they hated the like script, the writing, the story.
The script
fair.
seemed like it was good at first, and then it got a lot of studio notes. And there were like more men, more whatever, and then it got muddled. And the thing that was also strange about it is that there is no bad guy.
No.
Like there is no rising. I mean, there is conflict in that they're trying to save this or whatever, but like normally there would be something that we would unite them because Bette Midler is the bad guy technically, but she can't be the bad guy.
And she doesn't. She's
one of the
like
sisters.
borderline bad. Do you know what
So I remember, exactly. Like I remember there being some other element to it, and then when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, it's going to be the two assistants that are like trying like corporate espionage, and the sisters are going to have to come together. And then I was like, no, they're just a really nice couple that gets kimonos on Fire Island.
Exactly.
And I was like, there's no true bad guy, and there's no true conflict.
No.
So the whole rising tension is them not knowing that they're twins.
Yeah.
But it's not rooted in any sort of like, oh, they have to get together to do this, and they have it is sort of like a what's the skin in this game?
Yeah.
Other than we know.
I feel like the country Lily Tomlin and the city Bette Midler are if you're gonna have a bad guy, they're the closest to it.
Yeah,
Like,
I would agree.
You're rooting more for New York Lily Tomlin to make a difference at her workplace and find her happiness, and you're rooting for country Bette Midler to find her place. So it's not a real bad guy. I did not feel
that way at all. I thought, Lily Tomlin, pull your fucking weight. This is a multi-million-dollar company, and you're showing up with a stray dog and a scarf and tissues. Your sister is keeping this company together. Bette Midler needs to keep her shit together. Lily Tomlin, don't show up late with a dog.
No, I didn't see it at all. I feel like Rose, New York Rose, was like just stuck in this life she never wanted, and she's just going through the motions, where Sadie, New York Sadie, was like, no, I am in charge. I don't care if you want to be in charge. Don't pull your weight because I'm in charge. I'm going to do it all. I'm just keeping you here
that ditzy sister
because
her whole life.
You're my sister, and I feel obligated. That's how I felt.
She's been controlling her ditzy sister all life, because she even gets on the phone with her fiance to be like, why aren't you getting married?
Exactly.
That was fucked up. That was fucked up. But do you know what it would have been like to corral a boardroom of men as a woman by herself, and then have that ditzy sister coming in? Girlfriend. You
no, I think she thrived on it. She thrives on the control.
It was
New York Bette Midler wants to control everyone and everything.
And she needs to. All right?
That's who you identify with.
She's like Joan. Wow. Yeah, because she's fucking Joan Crawford. She's like, I am the fucking board.
I will fire you all on the spot.
Yep.
I love that scene too. And she's like, can I have a glass of water, please?
All
right, it is time for the segment we do in the show, Name Drop. This is our segment, 6 Degrees version of 6 Degrees, which we didn't pick. Wait. How are we going to do Name Drop?
I was thinking we should do Kevin Bacon. We should do Kevin Bacon.
I spend an hour with her every single day.
I once played a drinking game with
Celine Dion, Liza Minnelli. Cher, Laura Dern. I don't know her.
Who would you say is the most famous person in your phone?
My good friend Ben Affleck and his crippling addiction to back tattoos.
I have the best Lady Gaga story of all time.
Hate him, loathe her, over them, cancel it, tell me everything.
Yes, Name Drop. This is a part of the show where it is our version of 6 Degrees, pretty much. But who are we going to do? We should do Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, we should do Kevin Bacon because we don't have it. So we should make it a traditional.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon to who, though?
I was thinking maybe Lily Tomlin.
Yeah, let's do that. Kevin Bacon to Lily Tomlin. We will revisit it at the end of the show, see if we can get it. I think it'll be pretty easy. Oh, I was going to ask you, since it is in the theme song about it, and totally off topic, but I just thought about it. The whole J-Lo and Ben Affleck back together.
You guys do not know how important this is to me.
What? No.
Weird.
What, Brynne? Why is this important to you?
No, it is important to me what people think of it. So I have like a pretty high stress, important job at my work. I've ended all of my meetings last week with. So what do you guys think that J.Lo and Ben Affleck are back together?
I can't believe you.
And everyone in my important job at my law firm, they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I was like, I'm very invested, in what's happening right now.
Yeah,
What
are
do
you
guys
wanting a what is it, a Geely 2 or whatever?
What are they calling it? J-Lick?
J-Lick? Yeah. No. I'm
I thought
like,
it was Jennifer from back in the day.
they changed it.
They changed it.
I'm not
Because
for
he
it.
got with
I'm like, move
Jennifer
on.
Gardner.
No, and her and J-Rod were like gonna get married or we're married and everything.
He cheated on
I
her
didn't
with
know that
a
part.
Bravo
From
celebrity.
Southern Charm.
Oh, we didn't even know
With
that.
someone from Southern Charm.
Oh,
on Bravo.
fuck
So
yeah.
little
You're
blonde-
gonna cheat
the
on
little
J-Lo?
blonde girl.
Get out.
So that is why I'm
With
up
the
here for it.
hairdresser from Southern
God.
Charm.
With the girl from Southern Charm. Her name is Madison LaCroix.
Anybody
and
named Madison is just ooh.
She talked about it on her show. And I was like, I'm here for it in that Jennifer Lopez is like, fuck you. In one day I could get Ben Affleck
And
back.
she did, even with his bad back
she
tattoo.
did.
All right, now it is time to get Lena's take on this film. So, first off, Lena, have you heard of this film before? Yes or no?
So I remember seeing the cover of it, like in a Blockbuster or the local rental place, and I remember always seeing it and being like, that looks like fun. I also, Brynne, had an obsession with twins at a young age. In fact, my imaginary friend was a twin. Like instead of just having a normal imaginary friend, I had an imaginary twin.
Okay, why? Why did you decide twins as a kid?
I also loved The Parent Trap.
Yeah, I did too. The original.
And I also had just literally my whole life I've been friends with twins. At some point, Tony was not the first.
Tony, you're just her type. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it.
No, it's always happened organically. I've always befriended one and then like found out and then like befriended the other or not sometimes. So I always knew that twins were around, and I just kind of same thing as you, Brynne.
Always knew they were around?
Yeah. And so like same thing as you, Brynne, where it's like, wouldn't it be cool to have another me? Because I like me.
Yeah.
I
And
know
was
we
the
sound
oldest.
like narcissists right now.
Yeah.
But it's just because our siblings were dicks. It's not.
Oh, mine were.
Well,
and I love my siblings. We were.
No, well, that's why we were saying we wish there was another.
That's
one of
why
us.
you wanted a twin.
No, because we sound like narcissists. We're like, wouldn't it be cool if there was another me? But it's only because we just wanted someone to understand us because we were little broken children.
You were
Pretty
troubled
much.
children.
So
is that So okay. So this was the first time you saw it. What did you think of this film? Would it have been on the no-fly list for Mama and Papa Jones? And this was your first time watching it for the first time ever. What did you think?
Yes. As far as the no-fly list, I was really struggling. Like, why? It's PG, it's campy, it's fun, it's very kid-friendly. And then I figured out that the businessmen were gay.
And then you're like, that's it. Yeah.
And they were a couple. And I was like, oh, that's probably why.
Yeah.
I actually saw a meme this week. I don't know if anyone's following the whole Duggar thing, but it's like funny that families will, ban a kid for being gay, but they'll protect the family molester.
Yeah.
Dagger, sorry to make this podcast dark, but
it's true. It's true.
Yep. Being gay and getting pregnant or getting a girl pregnant before marriage, those were the two, like, if you do this in our household, you'll be out.
Yeah.
But I bet if you got a girl pregnant, it was a lot easier than being the girl that got pregnant, right?
Oh, I am sure my brother would have had a much easier go of it if any one of us girls had gotten pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that would have been why it was on the no-fly list. I really think if like they had edited that part out, we would have totally grown up on this movie because this was right up our alley.
As well, because I didn't even clock it as a kid.
I totally did. And I was like, yes.
Also, my parents were in the kind of
take that shirt off.
Yes.
My parents were in the kind of communities. And then eventually when there were websites, track those websites where they would basically, a movie would come out and they would say, here's all the things that are wrong with it. Here's how many times they use any curse words. Here's how many times.
Real?
For real?
Oh yeah. It's a
Really?
well, now it's a website. Before, people just did it word of mouth at Bible study. But yes, that is a very real website.
Wow.
And also, eventually, when the internet kind of got bigger, that website started editing movies to where they were safe for Christians, and you could get.
I do remember that popping up.
Yeah.
I remember actual storefronts of like, we will edit your videos to be safe.
Oh God.
Right.
Isn't that
but
against the
then
law? Copyright and all that?
I'm not quite sure how they circumvented it.
No, I don't think it's against the, because you're not distributing
True.
it. You're taking someone who bought it and
Okay. Got
Right.
it.
So, but yeah, that was, so I'm sure that's absolutely why, or, you know, my parents watched it and were caught onto that and were like, nope. So there's that. That being said, I enjoyed this movie, but I do feel like it's one I would enjoy a lot more now if I had seen it then.
Oh, I could. I would say.
I can see, yeah, I can definitely see that.
Because it's very.
I don't
dated.
think there's anything. Yes,
It's very,
and
very
I don't
dated.
think there's nothing wrong or bad about this movie. It's just like you guys said, maybe not the best writing. Maybe you know.
It's just a wheelhouse for Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin's comedy.
And Lily Tomlin, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
You just
Showcase
are
of
waiting for them to pop on screen every time, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, and they are fun. You can tell they
Yeah.
had fun. Like, it's one of those movies too that like the actor in me is like, I would love to be one of these sisters, or I would have loved to be on this set. It seems like it would have been a ton of fun, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I think it's a fun movie. Do I think it's a great movie? No. I think I would like it more if I had seen it at a younger age.
Okay. I respect that.
But I don't dislike
No.
it.
There are a lot of movies in this canon for me that are like that if I will never not love them. Like what was the Shelley Long one with the sperm bank?
Oh,
Frozen Assets.
yes, Frozen Assets. I remember that.
So there were
Wasn't that around the same time as Hello Again, or like a couple years apart?
Yes.
And I used to
Yes.
love Hello Again. Horrible,
So there were,
horribly
like-
written
I
film.
don't know what
Kathleen
any of
like-
these movies are.
there were like a lot of these movies that were like are like Peggy Sue. What was the Peggy Sue one with Kathleen Turner?
Peggy Sue Gets Married.
Yes.
And like
So
Made
there were
to
these-
Order. It was all this
Yes,
era.
right.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Brynne.
Of like women-led
Yeah.
movies that were like women are funny and we sort of like it was this era where they were like, let's let women be funny, and then they shoved it back down
Mhm.
again. But there was like a time in the late 80s, early 90s where women could really like, and so I will never hate on these movies because I remember it inspiring
Yeah.
me so much that it's like women didn't have to be sex symbols. Like Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler are not sex symbols in this movie. Like they're beautiful, vivacious women, but they're not taking their tops. They're in their slips. They're not like doing a bikini scene. They're not like pretending to be one of the guys.
Yeah.
That it was like for me, especially in my comedy career, so inspiring to be like, oh, you can be a normal woman and be funny and lead a movie and not look like, you know, freaking Keira Knightley. Just be funny in you. And then they sort of shoved that back down for a little bit, but it was great for me growing up to be able to see that. So I will never not love or not tell people like you should watch this because it was such a nice moment in history that I think maybe is coming back now.
I hope
Or
so.
maybe not.
But I
hope so.
But I agree with you,
But-
Brynne. Like it was that era in the I would say starting probably the mid 80s to the early 90s where it was that comedy, like that romantic comedy, over the top. Everything was just colorful and big. That's what
Yes,
that's
and
what
like
I
true
remember.
Beverly Hills, and like you didn't
Yeah.
have to have a 6-pack or like, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
It was like
just
Money Pit was around that time.
Yes, money.
Do you know
Pit,
what I
like, just
mean?
comedians
Yeah.
like women-led comedies that were just actual women comedians, not being commodified or sexualized, but just letting them. And then they were like, "Yes, this is you. Lead a comedy." And whether or not they were hit or miss, I don't think they got as many chances as the guys
I
did.
don't
Like
think so either.
Adam Sandler can make 32,000 movies about a disappearing Lego man. But Shelley Long makes one bad movie and they're like blackballing her. It was a really nice time, I think.
I do too. I agree with that. And it's just for maybe like how you were saying, Lena, if you would have watched this at that age when it came out, at being younger, it maybe would.
I would have loved
yeah,
it.
because for me, when I watch it, it just reminds me of back in the 80s, early 90s when I was a kid. And I remember just how everything seemed new and like technology was going to a new place. And it was just different. You know what I mean? So I think when I watch this, it's very nostalgic for me, this movie and this era.
This is the kind of New York City, like, I wanted to see as a kid. Too. So like whenever they had those scenes, I was like, man, I wish I could go back and like visit this New York City. Exactly. I mean, I haven't even been to New York City at all, but like, this seems like a really cool, I'm sure it was also grimy and dirty and gross and drug filled and all that stuff, but it's the kind of New York City I would have wanted to visit. And, a lot of the movies y'all talked about, I don't know what they were, but Troop Beverly Hills, those kind of movies, I do remember, especially because I got into acting really young. I knew right away I wanted to do it. And getting to see women playing character actresses, not the damsel in distress, not the basic ingenue, that kind of stuff where that's her story. I clung to those movies of that time that I was allowed to see that did show that, because I very much more identified with those type of women and those kind of actresses and wanted to do those kind of films, plays, whatever, than, Cinderella. Cinderella, snore. Troop Beverly Hills, yes.
It's cookie time.
Cookie time.
Cookie time.
And that's why I think like I would have loved this film as a kid. Even now I identified with the country Bette Midler. So I'm pretty sure totally as a kid I would have been like, yep, that's me.
Have you milked some cows, Lena?
I have milked some cows. Cows have even pooped on my head.
Oh my God.
Because I got too far under there.
So when you watch,
and I went in the nose
when
zone.
you watch films like this, Lena, does it make you go, God, I wish I could have watched this when I was little? Like kind of regret a little bit that you didn't
and also
experience
this is
that
like
nostalgia.
The films I remember my friends in school being able to watch and talking about and loving and just, having that moment at a young age of going, man, I want to watch that. Like I want to talk about it at recess and at lunch.
There's definitely a Blockbuster cover that you walked by and you were like, what was that?
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Well, and doesn't the polka dot skirt suit remind you of mermaids?
It does.
Yes.
And within pop culture, just on the last season of RuPaul's Drag Race, season 13, Rose did a tribute to Bette Midler in Big Business for one of the runways and wore the pink and black polka dot with the short red hair. And I was like, see, still pop culture reference right there.
Well, and I have a dress like that. I'm always drawn to polka dots. And I am very sure it is because I stared longingly at this VHS cover for many years going, I just want to watch it.
I want to watch it and want that dress. God, that is true. But the movie is just hilarious to me. There's so many good one-liners. Even like the minor characters are funny. Like the guy at the plaza, the desk guy who thinks he's gonna hook up with with Sadie, and he keeps
I was trying to recognize him. He looks so familiar. He's another actor that's been in tons of things. Also, the secretary at the business.
She is from Troop Beverly Hills.
And that is the brother to Sadie's New York. The not Sadie's New York. Hold on, I got it. It's coming to Lily Tomlin's character, Rose's New York. You know the guy that she wants to marry with the beard, older, and
Yes, from Growing
from
Pains, not Growing Pains.
Family Ties.
Michael. Family
Yeah,
Ties.
that
Yep,
is
yep.
his sister, the secretary. They're brother and
that makes
sister in real
sense.
life. Gross
Aw.
is the last name. That's yeah.
Man, everyone in Hollywood is
I
related. No wonder I
know.
never had a shot.
But yeah, who is it? Michael Gross, and it's his sister. Mary Gross. That's right. The two Grosses are in it, and then Seth, of course, a very young Seth Green, which I think
Seth
is
Green. I was obsessed with him in high school. He was Oz on Buffy.
Yeah, and then I think it's Graham. Is it Graham, the actor who played Graham, the guy, one of
Gilmore.
Huh?
He's Mr. Gilmore.
Yeah, from Gilmore Girls. Yeah,
he's
Gilmore,
yes.
which I am watching right now. Don't ask me why. I get in these kicks where like
Everybody does that.
I'm on like season 3. Jonesy's making a face.
I don't like Gilmore Girls, but
you know what? It is like such a dumb show, but I don't know why I like it. I don't know why. It's that, Ugly Betty, and Happy Endings for me. Those are my like.
Oh, Happy Endings! I love Happy Endings pick right now.
Lena, Jonesy, and I have a thing with Happy Endings and New Girl because when I had it, when she came out and took care of me many years ago, remember we watched those shows religiously.
Yes, we did.
It was so good. But yeah, like. So there was a lot of actors in this film that went on to do a lot of bigger things and greater things. But all in all, I really enjoy the film. I still do. But now it is time. We are going to pair this film. What are we going to? This is our segment called Grace, Give Me a Stinger.
Hey, monsieur. Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily. Shake it over rice and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
It's drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another.
Grace, give me a stinger.
Yeah, this is the part of the show where we are going to pair a cocktail and little nibblies to go with this movie while you watch it. Who wants to go first?
Ooh, okay.
Go ahead.
So, okay, yeah, I'll go. So I am going to do an eclair.
Because of the
like
eclair scene.
Or like a pastry cart. And then a mint julep.
Yeah, and she has a stamp. And she's like a mint julep.
Which is in her bouquet.
Yeah.
She gets a mint julep and then she's stamping in the bouquet. I was like, oh.
So good.
That's a really weird pairing.
I know, it is a really weird pairing. What would you do, Jonesy?
I feel like I would do sushi.
Okay, good.
Because I thought that scene was kind of funny. Plus, I have easy access to it here. And then probably, I don't know if I saw it in the movie, but I think of it as a New York or city kind of drink, a dirty martini.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna do the little dollar-sized pancakes with raspberry or what's it called? Blueberry syrup, like they do in the movie Raspberry, and she spills it on her new white polyester coat, and a mimosa. So I'm going breakfast for this one. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
We've got breakfast, dinner, and dessert.
Dinner and dessert. You can watch the film for all 3. Yeah. Okay, so before we give our grades, I want to get your last take on the film. Like just one sentence, if you had to review it, and it was the tagline for the film, what would it be? Anybody?
It's one of those fun for the whole family. As long as they're young. Or it's the 80s.
Call it like Big Broads, Big City.
Big Broads, Big City. I like that. Like Broad City. Yeah. There
Broad
you go.
City. Oh, yeah.
I love that. You know, the original name for it was Double Trouble.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's such a bad name. I'm glad they went with Big Business. Yeah. What would mine be? It would be like, I don't know, Comedy of Errors, Country Mouse, City Mouse.
Country Mouse, City Mouse with a country Twin
City Twins. How can you go wrong with Bette and Lily Tomlin? I don't know.
In Minnesota, then it could have been the Twin Cities.
The Twin Cities, yeah. I don't know. It's just a feel-good movie. Makes you laugh. Makes you happy by the end of it. That's what I think. All right, now time for a grade. Do you know what we gave it last week, Jonesy?
You both gave it an A++.
Okay. Are you going to stick with that?
I'm gonna give it a solid A.
Oh, you went
And
down?
I went down, but I will tell you that normally I
take
my nostalgia goggles off. I will not. I will not take my nostalgia goggles off this time. I will leave them on because I love this movie and I love the nostalgia that it brings me. So maybe an A plus.
Okay.
So maybe I'll bring it down 1 plus.
Okay.
A.
So if you took your nostalgia glasses off, what would you give it?
An A.
Okay. I'm giving it an A plus because Bette Miller's in it. I love this film. I've always have. I'm not changing my mind. I know. You're like, anything she's in, you're going to love, except for Jinx. That movie was horrible. Horrible movie.
It's a terrible movie.
Oh, terrible movie. And that was her follow-up to
her
The Rose, which she was nominated for an Oscar for.
Oscar.
And she did that. Ugh.
It's literally the Jinx.
The Jinx, yeah. She had that, what's it called? When your first movie out, you win an Oscar, then nobody hires you for years to do any more film.
Your sophomore slump,
yeah,
like a little
What
bit.
are you going to give it? What are you going to give it, Jonsey?
I'm gonna, don't get mad at me, don't hate me. I'm gonna give it an A minus.
Oh no, that's fine. I was expecting
I
lower
said,
from you.
I don't think it's a bad movie. There's nothing wrong with it except it's dated.
Yeah, it's very dated.
Even though there was an outfit from the mermaids in it, we did not have the conflict that we did in the mermaids episode, which I appreciate.
I do too. Would this get a stamp in the passport, Jonsey?
Meh. Like,
meh.
I wouldn't necessarily put a stamp in the passport,
Okay.
but if like other former church kids was like, should I see this movie? I'd be like, yeah, if you want.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm going to take that as a yes and a win.
If not, don't turn it off.
Like, it's not one that I would be like, oh, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
I just, there's.
So this wouldn't be a Welcome to the Dollhouse where you gave it a hard no.
No. No.
All right. Oh, did you get name dropped? Did we do it? Did anybody of us do it?
I didn't think about it at all.
We didn't think about it at
So,
all. God dang
Do
it.
we have a minute left?
Yeah, we have time. You want to try figuring this out? So
Yeah,
okay, let's do
try
that.
and do it. Let's try and do it together. So I was thinking Lily Tomlin is an I Heart Huckabee.
Oh, I forgot
That's
about
the only
that.
thing I know her
A
from.
million people.
Yeah.
Or The Man with Two Brains with
She was
Steve
also
Martin.
in Incredible Shrinking Woman, which I used to love that film.
Amazing.
Kevin Bacon's
Well,
been
so
in
if we did
everything.
I Heart Huckabee with like everyone's in that: Jason Schwartzman, Jude Law, Naomi Campbell, Mark Wahlberg. So let's go.
I'm cheating.
Kevin
I'm looking it
Bacon. So Kevin Bacon was in Sleepers with like a million.
up. Oh, I
people.
remember Sleepers.
Yeah. So if we did like Kevin Bacon was in Sleepers.
Who else was in Sleepers? I'm trying to remember.
Julia
Brad
Roberts
Pitt.
was in that one, right?
Yeah.
John Penn.
Wasn't Julia Roberts in a movie with Kevin Bacon? Camilla?
I was like, what is that? Was that someone's stomach?
That's my dog being ferocious.
Oh God.
I'm sure if we did like, okay, so like Kevin Bacon was in The Hollow Man with Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue was in Heart and Souls with Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was in 8,000, like what any of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
One of those Marvel movies has to be connected.
With who?
With producer Rob is showing us. This is JFK.
Was in
Sally
The
Kirkland.
Incredible Shrinking
Sally
Woman
Kirkland?
with Sally Kirkland, who was in JFK with
Kevin
Kevin
Bacon.
Bacon. That was Sally Kirkland's Nutty Magoo. She is.
I love her.
I know.
I think she might be literally insane now, but yeah.
But The Incredible Shrinking Woman was such a good movie. I remember it kind of scared me because I was like,
Yes.
when I was a kid, I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, I am not going to use any cleaning products because it's going to make me shrink. Yeah. Is that right, producer Rob? Did we get it right? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we are actually, instead of saying what our next movie is, we're going to be on a little vacay for a bit. Me and producer Rob are going to the East Coast for a few weeks, and then when we come back, I need some time off. So between two shows, I need a little R&R. So then we will be back probably at the end of the month, beginning of July, with all new movies. And hopefully Brynne and I will be doing this in person With while Jonsey's still in Japan, it'll be good.
Waxed, and ready to
Yeah,
relax.
it'll be a lot of fun in person. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But yeah, we will be
I got
back.
one last thing to say about this movie.
Go ahead.
Oh, all right.
I'm stealing this because I read it from someone else who's a much better author than me. I hated how much they tried to make Bette Midler the fat one.
Oh, I know.
I am over people with round cheeks
you're right.
and
You're right.
boobs being fat.
She wasn't fat
That
at all.
has screwed me up since I was a kid because I have round cheeks and big boobs, and it doesn't matter how small your waist. Have you seen her legs?
She's
Her legs were
itty-bitty.
phenomenal in that
Yeah.
movie. And at one point they even say, "Oh, you're a 9," and I was like, "She is not a 9."
But in real, like I've seen
Sorry.
her in concert
In
many
rant.
times, and she is tiny, itty bitty person.
When she walks in and the salesperson was like, she was like, I'm like a 4. And she's like, really? And my boyfriend turned to me and he's like, if anyone ever talks to you like that, walk the fuck out.
Hit him in the face. Hit him in the face.
Just had to say that.
No, good
Because I was
point.
like,
Good
as soon
point.
as we had those scenes, I was like, and this is why I've always, no matter how tiny I've been, have always been like, you're fat because you got round cheeks and big boobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Hollywood.
Thanks, Hollywood.
I don't have big boobs, but I have a round face.
Yeah. No, you don't.
But yeah.
You don't have a round face. I don't think you do.
Okay, then maybe I'm just fat.
Whatever.
You're not fat.
I am. But anyways, I think if you guys haven't seen Big Business, go out and watch it. It is a very fun movie, very, very entertaining. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up, but I cannot remember. But you can follow the podcast at Filmspringa Podcast. It's Filmspringa on Instagram, and our email is filmspringapodcast@gmail. I was gonna say the email first, and then I comment.
You know what would be good during this hiatus is everyone send us in your movie recs.
Yeah.
Of movies you watched as a kid. Maybe it would be good, or maybe we could do some mini-sodes or something of watching
like
the
that.
movies that you guys loved as a kid.
And maybe it'll be a
let
movie
us know.
Brynne and I haven't seen, so the three of us could review it for the first time
Together.
ever. Movies that you loved as a kid that really influenced you or had some kind of effect. That would be great.
Yeah.
And you can
I'd
email
love that.
those to us at filmspringapodcast@gmail or DM us on Filmspringa on Instagram. Yeah. But that is it. We will be on break, and then we will be back ready to talk about more movies and introduce Lena to more movies, whether they're good or bad. We're going to make her suffer through it. But that is it for us. And yeah, we will see you all later. Bye.